Warning label. The views of this presentation are not meant to reflect all people, but rather the people within the presenter's region of the world in a very broad sense. The presenter is asking that the viewers listen with an open heart and mind. What's up, my people, and welcome to the Knowledge Room. This is a show that is going to be somewhat like a classroom, but not. The Knowledge Room is where issues that affect black people will be discussed most of the time, but not all the time. For example, today's show is about the concept of objectifying women. Let's go. I read an article recently where the director of Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins, said she created the film with the idea of empowering women, which is really more European, as in white women, than any other racial group for the women empowerment concept. But to take Wonder Woman out of her original costume for fear of objectifying women makes no sense, especially if we look at what the word objectify means. According to the dictionary, I changed the words a little bit, but that's another story. I changed the words in how I word it. That's what I meant. To objectify means to degrade the status of a mere object. I cannot say that all men see women as a non-living object. I do agree that men tend to see women in an extremely limited capacity, i.e., only existing for men's sexual pleasure or for men's personal pleasure, as well as a person seeing women as a man's housekeeper, one who cleans his house and cooks his food. But the function of keeping a man's house clean and cooking his food are not functions of a robot, which is a thing, which would go back to objectifying the actual meaning of objectify. The function of keeping a house clean and cooking are set aside for a maid. If women are going to be angry with men, women should be angry about the right thing. Getting angry because a man wants a woman for sex is not the right reason. Getting mad because the man does not speak compassion for what you do to keep the house functioning and not expressing desire to help is a good reason to be angry. If a man that is accused, if I'm a man accused of lusting a woman, I will be angry. Yeah, I definitely will be angry, because lusting a woman is not wrong. My lack of desire to talk with her and let her decompress from her day, that is wrong. If you do not show willingness to let if I don't show willingness to let my lady decompress, then I certainly see why my lady would not be interested in having sex with me. Her irritation has nothing to do with my lust. Her irritation has to do with my not giving human compassion. The reality is, Allah designed women attractive. The problem isn't necessarily what the woman is wearing. The problem oftentimes, and unfortunately, is that Western culture, as in the U.S., has painted the woman in a weak image altogether. In antiquity, women were not the first to take up the sword. Men were. At the same time, while women did not take up the sword first, if there were not enough men to fight off bandits and protect the village, rest assured that the sisters took up the sword, axe, or whatever object could be used as a weapon that was available to protect. Women were more focused on protecting their children. We men unfortunately tend to be focused on our territory more than our children, or our daughters, to be more accurate. Unfortunately, we men tend to focus too much on our sons and territory and less on our daughters, which we shouldn't do, but yes, we are guilty of doing that. The reason why I brought up the antiquity thing was for a comparative note between present and today. Excuse me, a comparative note between past and today. The idea of women being simply weak is a male issue that has been going on since antiquity, which was described in a book called Judges. In this particular book, in Deborah's time, which is described in the book Judges, men didn't like that Allah spoke through a woman. But when Deborah said why Allah chose a woman, or chose her, which the reason from Allah was because there were no righteous men within the borders of Israel to lead the army, this did not please men either. A woman's human value is oftentimes lower because we men choose only to embrace our warped view of women. Women don't press us to do this. We do this ourselves. There are even women that wish to put themselves on display for the sexual pleasures of men. So the man can't be the only one guilty of seeing a woman in a warped vision. Well, yes, women do look at women in a warped way. We men tend to do it more than the woman does. Just wanted to put that out there. Something that women must honestly consider when it comes to men and how we think. Since the dawn of time, men have been trained that women have their place in life and men see themselves having a certain place in life as well. Yes, the woman can have her own business like a man. In a very human way, Khadijah, the first wife of Muhammad of Arabia, was a businesswoman. But when it came time to have her products shipped, Khadijah had Muhammad, who was at the time one of her employees and not her husband at that time. She had Muhammad and her other servants do the heavy lifting. Why? Because no woman was interested in doing heavy labor. Men were expected to do this. A woman of antiquity would not be interested in being a construction person. She would prefer to take care of children and tend to the field. What women did mind was men not helping the women out with the upkeep of the home at the end of the day. Women have been Women who have been emotionally hurt by their misunderstanding of the roles of the two genders feel that men look at women with lust to those women. Pardon me, I spoke that wrong. Women who have been emotionally hurt by their misunderstanding of the roles of the two genders feel that men are wrong for lusting. These women are wrong because men are obeying their design. It is not that men are wrong for looking at women with lust, but the way men express their lust could be wrong. The way it's expressed certainly could be wrong. Even Allah says in Hebrew and in Arabic that men are supposed to go to women with lust in their eyes. Not that women are only for men's lust, but that when men have lust on their mind, the woman should be available to give the man relief from his sexual tension. The reverse is obviously a given. It's silently said. Allah should not have to tell the woman or say the same thing, because he expects his creation to use their mind. This is not sexism. This is just reality. The woman that sees Allah's way of the roles of gender as wrong is a woman that needs to reevaluate her understanding of the roles of gender against what Allah says is so. The reason the sister should reevaluate her thinking is because the gender roles have existed for centuries before this present generation of women. Again, women of antiquity did have gender issues with men, but across the cultural and racial board, the gender issues women of antiquity the issues women of antiquity had are very different than the gender issues women have today. The difference makers between then and now really is a matter of philosophical or religious belief. Finally, in antiquity, as well as parts of the eastern side of the world today, a woman's household philosophy is what guided and guides her actions. In the U.S., unfortunately, a woman's personal feelings, which generally have no philosophical and or religious ties, a woman's personal feelings, they don't have any philosophical or religious ties, tend to be what guides her. That, unfortunately, is the problem. With that said, keep your hater rate on full blast and speak into your future. Peace. Also, forgot to say that if you didn't like what I said, remember to speak that down there, the little comment box down there, and remember to click subscribe on your left hand side, the little red button. Yeah, click that, and see you next time.